What's going on, everyone? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take a look at the Joytoy 1/18 scale, the Risen REGO. This guy's really was kind of high on my list for releases this year from Joytoy. I picked this up directly from Locker Toys. I'm pretty sure he might still be available. I think he's available on Amazon also. So you could check your typicals and try and find him. Big Bad Toy Store and all that stuff. He's a really nice looking figure. He does not come with this display stand. I'm just kind of put this stand on here for the sake of the review. But I'll set him aside really quick. We'll get to him. Here's the packaging really quick. It does have a nice window box display to it. And there is a picture of REGO right there. Okay, and then on the back, your obligatory product shot right there. Pretty cool. This is the Risen REGO. Risen REGO. Joytoy upside down. Risen REGO. Joytoy. Okay, bye. That's pretty much it for the packaging there. Bringing the figure in. He's very simple, straightforward. I really like this design though. It does set him apart from some of the other cyborgs that we've got from Joytoy. And he's another jetpacker. Let me just take him off of here, and we'll take this sword off of here. Gun off of there, rifle, and we'll just take a look at the jetpack, which is just pretty much just a plug-in on his back. We've seen this multiple times before. I know this is my first time doing kind of a jetpack guy in person, but just kind of bringing him up close and personal. I still have really nice tight joints on him, and I've had this guy for quite a bit. I want to say for a couple months now, and he still, you know, is really tight. You know, I play with my Joytoy figures quite a bit, so I like to maneuver them. And they're still, you know, he's still in pretty good shape as far as, you know, no loose joints or anything like that. He didn't have any loose joints coming out of the package or brand new or anything like that. So that's good. The face sculpt looks really good. Let me just clear off his, if there's any fuzz or anything on his face. But face sculpt looks really clean. You can see the little bit right here on his face that he does have some cyborg elements to him. Pretty awesome. The vest itself is removable, so if you need to remove it, you can. It's just these little clamps right here on the side, there, and then there, and it should be pretty simple to detach itself. Go, and there we go. I'm just popping that off. You can also just pop the head off too if it helps make it easier. But you'll see a boatload of detail underneath that rig right there. And I mean, you could have him displayed without the chest protector if you wanted to, and it works because you've got all of this beautiful detail going on with his chest. His whole bicep is all, you know, machine. You can see all the organics working with the machine. You can even see some blood, some like dried up blood, and really awesome detail that we normally don't see this much detail with a 3¾ inch figure. I got a little bit of paint slop right here. That's not the end of the world. I could probably get that off. But it's something to point out. That might actually be from the inside of the vest. Yes, it is. And it's right there. See this kind of black? I'm trying to get my lighting proper here. Let me just adjust that. You can see there's black in there. The black kind of rubbed off on the back of him. So when you get him, he comes without the vest on. You have to put the vest on him, which took me about 30 seconds to do. So some of the paint rubbed off a little bit on his back. That's something to note. But it's not the end of the world. I can definitely get this off, and it's coming off already. and it won't damage the figure either. See, it's already gone pretty much for the most part. Over here on the other front part of the torso, you can see there's actually like a little bit of paint shading going throughout the belly button area and the abdomen. And I think I can pretty much pop this off. Just get that off, or try not to take the leg off there. We'll just kind of wobble it. There we go. This way you guys can see better what I'm talking about. I pop that back on, and then pop the legs back on. There we go. That's him without the belt on. I gotta pop that on a little bit better. There we go. See, you hear a little pop snappage. There we go. Fix that thigh really quick. Back him off a little bit. Sorry, I don't mean to be all up in your faces like that. But yeah, the abdomen, torso area definitely does have a lot of paint shading going throughout. I half wonder if that can come off too. I don't know. Looks like an oil and such. It's actually a little bit more paint detail than Joytoy does normally. They usually don't do too much. They usually do just enough. Here is the thigh armor and holster. I'm not a big fan of this clip, this C clip that they've been using lately. Yes, it does hold the gun on a lot, very secure, but it's just too bulky and it does get in the way and it just doesn't look right. Like, I don't know, can you imagine running with a big C clip hanging off the side of your leg? It's like, just go back to holsters, guys. Come on. What are you thinking with this? I don't get it. But the detail on him is fantastic. You really can't deny that. It looks really, really good. All of the sculpting going throughout that, just that, the neck to the chest to the arm, it just flows so nicely. And you can just see the inner workings. Kind of reminds me of Link from the Stallone Dread a little bit. How everything, all the organics are kind of flowing with the, or working with the machine parts of his body. And like I said, you can kind of see some like, almost like blood right here on the side of his arm or his abdomen there. So it's really good as far as like paint detail goes. Like Joytoy is top notch with their paint detail and sculpt. I would say they're some of the best in the business with paint detail and sculpt. You can also see some black shading and stuff going on here. I don't know if I necessarily think that's a little bit heavy-handed for me right there, that shading. I don't know, but it does hide, so you don't really see it too much. And if you have the vest on, you won't see it at all. So some of the paint shading is a little bit heavy-handed. It's not overly done, and you could honestly take that off if you wanted to. Not that you should have to when you get a brand new figure, do mods and stuff to your figure. But I think still, if you leave them, yeah, I think you're fine. It's not the end of the world. He stands great. Oops, as he falls over. Get him standing up. A nice little neutral position here. Are you gonna stand, bro? Let me get him standing proper so he's not like leaning back, leaning forward, and not doing anything. Just kind of standing neutral. There we go. And he will stand. You can, let's see him taking a knee here. Just the basics, you know. You just want to be able to do the basics with your figure, like taking knees and such. You want to be able to do that. And you can do it. No issues with him taking knees. If you want to have him in a meditating pose, you could do that also. Kind of have him like this, meditating. Get this bowed out a little bit more. You can do that. Let's do some kicks. Oop, there goes the leg. Not to worry though, because it pops right back on. Let's get some kicks in. See what we can do with some kicks. He should be able to pose up with the kick. Bam. Just as simple. Really doesn't take much. But now, disassembling the figure if you want to, you can pop the head off, you can pop the torso off, the lower torso off, the legs off, the other leg off. Just be careful with your poppage. Now, if anything is giving you any sort of resistance like this, just be slow, take it off like that, and you can break him down all the way down to nothing. So he is pretty much modular if you want him to be. So that's pretty cool. And putting him back together, you always want to grab the crotch piece first, pop him back on just like so. And this is for the majority of Joytoy figures are all set up like this. So if you're new to Joytoy and you're like, what the hell is this awesomeness? Oh, they are awesome. They're what G.I. Joe should have been for years. Pop that back on. Now everything's pretty much going together here. That's awesome. It would have been cool to see Sergeant Slaughter eventually evolve into like a cyborg of some sort. I think that would have been awesome. Maybe that sounds ridiculous to some people. I don't really care. But, you know, if they gave like some sort of like, if they like did evolve G.I. Joe, because you know how G.I. Joe pretty much just stays stagnant for the most part. Like they're just pretty much stuck in the 80s and never gonna evolve into anything else outside the 80s. Even though, you know, POC tried and we're still stuck on stupid with the 80s. Now, with all of him geared up with everything, you will have to detach the head, pop that head off to put the helmet on because it's a separate helmet head. And we've seen this with the other jetpack guys. When you pop that head on, get that hair out of here. I don't know why that's in there. He just needs his helmet, his jetpack, which does plug right into his back right here. And do be careful with the jetpack. It does feel like right here and here. It does feel a little dainty as far as the plastic goes, and he's gonna be a little bit back heavy, so you're gonna have to tilt him forward a little bit and kind of manipulate those joints a little bit to get him to stand on his own. But you can get him into something like that, like he's about to take off, and then if you want to get him into flight poses, the head will kind of look back a little bit more, so it's not too bad getting him into like a flight pose if you need him to. So like, whoosh. This jetpack just looks like it's a little bit louder than normal. Kind of reminds me of like Firefly, his jetpack from like the Arkham series, or even just, you know, pretty much any Firefly. Even the helmet kind of gives off those Firefly vibes, you know. But he does have a sidearm right here, and like I said, it just clips in pretty much just like that. And he can hold it in his hand if you need him to. I do wish that he held it a little bit better in this hand. I mean, yeah, he's not wanting to do it. You could also separate the fingers if you wanted to make a trigger finger, or you could just throw it in this hand right here, and he'll hold it a lot better. So you could do that. Like so. Have him shooting at somebody. Bam! 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 I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. So we'll just make him a lefty. There's not a lot of lefties out there, so we'll make this dude a lefty. Why not? I guess we can make him ambidextrous because I don't know. I guess he does dual wield pretty much. And like, I feel like a guy like this that has like cyborg limbs would be able to actually dual wield, like hold this, shoot it, be accurate enough, and then have his sword also in his hand, which I really like the sword. This is pretty unique for the character. So I think I'm going to have him definitely using the sword. Absolutely. This is his sword. It's like a vibro sword, kind of similar to what they use in Star Wars. That's what it looks like. It just looks like it's got some sort of like function to it. Like maybe it's retractable or something like that to save space. Then you can store it somewhere. Maybe it like magnetically stores on the side of his leg, which would be pretty cool. So maybe it's got like a retractable blade or something like that. It'd be pretty it's pretty awesome to think about, fun little stuff like that. But there you go with that. He can hold both of his weapons. Let me get this off really quick and we'll get him kind of aiming down the sights here. Get him all situated with that, because that is an important thing, especially with a Joytoy figure, to be able to rifle, look down the sights and rifle everything properly. That's what you want right there. That is what you want. Give me that shit. Oh, yes. Let's get this off his back really quick. So if you want to have him all aimed up, you can do so. You know, he's taking some mofos out. He looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. As far as his articulation does go, let me get him into articulation mode. Articulation mode activated, and I'll do two different sets of articulation with the head, because you want the helmeted head. You want to know if it moves around and such. So the head up, down, tilt side to side. Let's see if we got some jive turkeys up in here. No gobbles, no turkeys. Sorry. Wah wah wah. Arms go up, down, full 360 rotation in the arm if you need it to. No bicep swivel, because he has a single bend at the elbow and he has a swivel at the elbow. So that's perfect. I think for 3 3/4 inch figures, they don't really need that bicep swivel. You can swivel the wrist here, just like so. He can pretty much, do we have a hinge joint in there? Is there, sir, do you have a hinge? Yes, you do. It's right in there. And over here it is, where are you? Where is your hinge? Does it not have a hinge? Oh no, it does. It's right there. It does have a hinge. It can go down and up, back and forth pretty much. He can swivel. You'll obviously get better range of motion with the vest off, but he can swivel. Back him up, sorry. He can tilt side to side. He can do the splits. About that far without the legs popping off. Legs can go forward, back, upper thigh swivel at the joint itself, and then he does have a thigh cut right there, so that'll move. Double jointed knees. He can point the toe. He can point the heel about that far. He does have ankle pivot. He does have a peg hole at the bottom of his foot, and he has toe articulation, which I'm not a big fan of toe articulation. We've already known that, and I'm not going to keep harping on it. There is no boot swivel or anything like that. I think he might actually benefit from a boot swivel. Sometimes figures don't need them, and other times they do, but yeah, that's pretty much for that articulation. Let's get into the other head's articulation really quick. So he can look up a little bit more than with the helmeted version on. Down, side to side. Let's see if he's got some dive turkeys. Oh, we got a little turkey. We got a little in there. So there's that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for his articulation. Okay, next up we've got him with two Marauders figures. On the right, we've got a custom Frostbite figure. And this was a Marauders geared up figure from a while ago, a couple years ago. And then on the left is my custom Dusty action figure. Okay, next up we've got two Halo figures. We've got Master Chief on the left, and then we have the Halo Infinite pilot. I forgot his name offhand, but he's on the right, and that's how they stack up with the Halo 4-inch figures. Okay, next up we've got him with a Pursuit of Cobra Dusty, one of my favorite figures of all time from the Joe line. And then on the left, we've got the FSS Overkill. I just kind of thought it was fitting, Overkill and Rego, and you know. Okay, next up, we've got him with two Vintage Joes, just in case you're trying to gauge how Joytoy figures stand up. They are both on figure stands just because they don't stand very well with all their gear on. But, you know, Rego is still taller than them. So Vintage Joes are going to be more of like a true 3 3/4 inch, and Joytoy figures are going to be around 4 inches, maybe in between 4 and 4.5 inches, depending on the character. But that's how he stacks up. On the left, we've got Dusty from the, I believe that was like the mid-2000 line or early 2000 line. And then on the right, we've got Falcon, Vintage Falcon. Okay, next up, we've got two of some of my favorites as far as Joytoy releases. We've got Paladin on the left, and then we've got the Jump Troopers on the right. And this is how they stack up with them. I want to say Rego is taller than the Paratrooper on the right, and then on the left, Paladin. They're almost around the same height. Rego might be just a hair, like a squinch taller. Okay, next up we've got an Eagle Force figure. This is from Fresh Monkey Fiction. On the right, that's Captain Eagle, and then on the left, we've got a vintage Palatoy from Action Force, that's Skip. Okay, next up, we've got a Vitruvian Hack Gladiator on the left, and then on the right, we've got a Chicken Fried Toys. That's right, Cowboy. It's actually the one of the Marshals. I believe it was the U.S. Marshal. So that's how they stack up with both of those lines. Okay, next up, we've got two Zombie Lab figures. On the left, we've got Dr. Banner, and then on the right, we've got a Zombie Cop, which is pretty cool. Okay, and one more comparison I wanted to make was with the in-pocket Woo figure. On the left, that's the Medic. He's pretty much like a robot medic. And then on the right is the newer Stalker figure that was released. Okay, so for my final thoughts on Rego here, I really like this guy. He's unique. He definitely stands out from the rest of your Joytoy figures. That says a lot. We do have a tendency, if you are a long-standing collector with Joytoy 3 3/4 inch figures, you know that some of them do tend to blend in, and I want to say that he stands out a lot more than the rest of the pack does. Or he stands out from the rest of the pack is what I mean to say. I like the accessories. I think they're fitting. The hands work pretty good with both weapons, and you know, the helmet fits in, pops in nicely. All the joints are really good on him. The paint is stellar, as always, with Joytoy. Other than that little bit of over shading on the torso region, other than that, I really don't have an issue. The vest is easy to put on and off. The figure is easy to break down if you need to do that. He can balance even with his jetpack on standing, as you can see right here. I don't have any sticky tack or anything going on. He's just standing under full balance. The sword is really cool and unique. I'm starting to see that they're starting to spread that sword around to other characters, and I'm not a big fan of that, but so I might pass on the other characters that are kind of getting the hand-me-downs from him. But I really like this figure. I think he's definitely a solid musket, and I would give the full recommendation of the 2 thumbs. There's 2 thumbs. Full recommendation here for Rego. And yeah, I love the jetpack. I kind of wish that he would have got the other ones with the smaller ones with the wings that the other jetpack guys got, but this works pretty well. And it's nice that we do have the option for the helmet. He does run a little bit higher of a price point than some of the other figures. I think he's around 30 to 35-ish, depending on where you buy them from. So I don't know. I bought mine directly from Locker Toys. That's the source. So that's where I got him from. I would definitely recommend going there. Big Bad Toy Store is going to be a little bit more expensive for you. Other than that, I don't have really much else to say about him. I think he's a grand slam right here. I think he's a solid, really good figure. The sculpt work and the paint, I really can't emphasize this enough. It's really just fantastic, and I think you should do yourself a favor and go pick him up. You could, I mean, even if you're just strictly just a G.I. Joe collector, I think you could, you know, build this character up to be something to fit in with your Pursuit of Cobra, with any of your modern Joes. With the vintage Joes, I don't know if he's going to fit in with those. Not that you'd probably want to get this guy for them anyway. But yeah, solid pickup here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.